All right, let's talk about something that drives pretty much every English learner crazy. You know the feeling. You learn a rule, you feel good about it, and then, bam, the language breaks its own rule. Well, today we are tackling one of the biggest rule breakers out there, irregular verbs. We're going to demystify these linguistic oddballs and turn all that frustration into confidence.
Ah, yes. This is the question that haunts us all, isn't it? You learn that beautiful, simple rule. Just add ed, and the world makes sense. Walk, walked. Talk, talked. And then you hit a wall. Why on earth do we say I went instead of I goed? I mean, it just feels random, chaotic, and frankly, a little unfair. But what if I told you it's not random at all? You can see the difference right here. On one side, you have pure predictability, a clear, simple system. On the other, well, it looks like a total mess. See becomes saw, go becomes went, think becomes thought. But believe it or not, that seeming chaos, it actually holds the secret to the entire history of the English language.
So, here's our game plan for today. We're going to start by uncovering a secret rule from English's ancient past. Then, we'll do a little time traveling to see how the language got so mixed up. And finally, we'll land right back in the present with a practical toolkit to help you conquer these verbs once and for all. Okay, let's dig in. The real key to understanding these weird verbs isn't in some modern grammar book. Nope, it's actually hidden deep in the language's ancient Germanic roots. So, here's the most important thing to get your head around. Irregular verbs are not mistakes. They're not exceptions that somehow broke the rules. They are the original rules. Think of them like linguistic fossils, these perfectly preserved relics from a much, much older version of English, a time when changing a verb's tense worked in a totally different way.
And that brings us to this core idea, strong verbs versus weak verbs. You see, back in Old English, most verbs were what we call strong. To make them past tense, you didn't add anything to the end. You changed the vowel sound in the middle. The weak verbs, the ones that just added an ending like ed, they were the new kids on the block. Over hundreds of years, that simple weak verb pattern took over. But the strongest of the strong verbs, they survived.
And here's the proof that this wasn't random at all. This vowel-changing pattern has a name. It's called ablaut. And look how clear the system was. The vowel I in the present tense often became an ah in the past, and then a oo in the past participle. Sing, sang, sung. Drink, drink, drunk. Begin, began, begun. See, this was the original, predictable rule for hundreds and hundreds of verbs. So if that old system was so predictable, what happened? How did we get from these elegant, strong verbs to the simple ed rule that we have today? Well, the answer lies in a wild history of invasions, cultural mashups, and just general linguistic simplification. This timeline really tells the whole story. English started out as the Germanic language, just chock full of strong verbs. Then, Viking invasions introduced a bunch of Old Norse words. After that, a huge turning point. The Norman conquest in 1066 made French the language of the powerful, which pushed English grammar to get a lot simpler. As the language evolved, that easy ed ending became the new normal. But a core group of those original strong verbs just refused to go away. So why did some verbs survive this great simplification? Well, the number one reason is frequency. Verbs like go, be, and see were used constantly, every single day, by pretty much everyone. They were so deeply wired into the language that they were basically immune to change. Less common verbs, though, weren't used as much, so people naturally started applying that new, simpler ed rule to them. And now, for my absolute favorite piece of English trivia. Get this, the past tense of go has absolutely nothing to do with the verb go. Went is actually the past tense of a completely different Old English verb wend, which meant to travel. Over time, the verb wend pretty much disappeared, but its past tense went was so common that it got stolen and permanently attached to go. This kind of linguistic theft is called suppletion, and it's incredibly rare and super cool.
Okay, history lesson over. Now let's pivot from the why to the how. How can we use all this knowledge to actually learn these verbs more effectively?
Here is the most important takeaway from all that history. They are not random. And once you truly get that, once you realize there are hidden systems and reasons behind the madness, you can finally stop trying to memorize a massive, boring alphabetical list and start using strategies that actually work with your brain's natural ability to find patterns.
This quote really says it all, doesn't it? The goal isn't just to use brute force memorization. It's about finding the little mini rules, the small families of verbs that all behave in similar ways. And that approach transforms what feels like an impossible task into something totally manageable.
So, to help you find those patterns, I've put together a little toolkit for you with 5 proven methods for finally mastering these verbs. Method 1 is by far the most powerful. Group them by pattern. Please stop trying to memorize an alphabetical list. Instead, learn them in batches. Put all the verbs where the 3 forms are exactly the same in one group: cost, 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 cut, cut, cut. Then make another group where the past forms match, like feel, felt, felt. And of course, you can group our old friends, those vowel change verbs, like drink, drant, drunk. I promise you, learning this way is so much more efficient.
Method 2 is all about not getting overwhelmed. Don't try to learn all 180 or so irregular verbs at once. That's just a recipe for disaster. Instead, start with the top 10 most common ones you see here. If you can master just this list, you'll be able to handle a huge percentage of everyday conversations. It gives you a quick win and really builds your confidence.
Method 3, make it fun. Let's be honest, memorization can be a total drag, so turn it into a game. Create your own flashcards. It's old school, but it works. Find some interactive quizzes online. There are tons of great free ones out there. Or even better, challenge a friend and see who can get more right. A little friendly competition makes learning stick.
Now, method 4 is absolutely crucial. You have to use the verbs in context. Just memorizing write, wrote, written in a list isn't really enough. You have to use them in full sentences to truly understand how each of those forms works. This connects the abstract words to real meaning, and that's what locks them into your memory for good. And finally, method 5 is all about using your senses. Go on YouTube and find some of those songs that teach irregular verbs. Music is an incredible memory hack. It really is. And use your eyes. Write a few verbs on a sticky note and put it on your bathroom mirror or your coffee maker. Just seeing them every day, even for a few seconds, works wonders. So, there you have it. You've got the history and you've got the toolkit. The final piece of this puzzle is turning all that knowledge into a natural, automatic skill. And you know what that comes down to? Consistent practice. Here are your 2 final steps to true mastery. First, just immerse yourself. Read books, listen to podcasts, watch movies in English. The more you see and hear these verbs in their natural habitat, the more intuitive they're going to feel. And second, be brave. When you're speaking, ask people to correct you. I know it can feel a little uncomfortable, but getting that direct feedback is the single fastest way to improve. So remember, irregular verbs are not mistakes you have to memorize. They are stories to be understood. Each one is a tiny fossil that connects you to 1,000 years of history. So the only question left is, which one of these fascinating fossils are you going to uncover first?